Abuja. As we all know, Nigeria has a lot of biological resources, and one of such, forests. But back before independence, Nigeria used to have, massive forest reserves. But these days, we don't see that happening anymore. Deforestation has become the case here in the country, and that is why a lot of people have been encouraging Nigerians to plant a tree. Certain people have started the campaign, several organizations, and now that we're talking about climate change, planting trees is of necessity and is no longer, luxury or whatever people thought it was at the time. And there is someone in the country at the moment, in an association that have been encouraging Nigerians to plant trees, especially coconut trees. And you might be asking yourself, why coconut trees? I guess she'll be answering the question today on Good Morning Abuja. So right here with us is Mrs. Ariratu Yakubu. She is the Kogi State Coordinator of NACOPMAN. NACOPMAN is National
Association of Coconuts, Plants Processing and Marketing Association of Nigeria.
Exactly. It's so long. Sorry. So NACOPMAN, that's the acronym NACOPMAN, and she'll be here talking to us about the need to plant trees and why we need to start planting coconut trees. So she'll be joining us remotely. She's not here in the studio, and that's why you're not seeing her right here. So Mrs. Ariratu, good morning to you.
Good morning, Abuja.
Great to have you. I can see you are all green, getting set for the day. So first of all, before we start with our questions, it's as if, are you trying to represent what you're talking about, and that's why you're all green from head, and I'm sure your shoes are green. I wish we could see that too.
Yeah, I'm trying to represent what I want to talk about. We're here to talk about tree planting, and the tree planting is all about green. And Nigeria itself is green and white.
All right, let's talk about NACOPMAN now. Tell us the actual full acronym, your activities, what you do, what you've done so far in creating awareness for the need to plant trees.
It's my pleasure to be here, and coconut is one topic I love to discuss everywhere. NACOPMAN is National Coconut Producers, Processors and Marketers Association of Nigeria. This organization came into being and is registered by with the CAC and is being regulated by Ministry of Trade and Investment. One of the basic focus or the objective of this organization is for us to be able to have coconut plantations, coconut trees in abundance in Nigeria. The way it is today in Nigeria, 80% of coconut that is consumed in this country is being imported from Togo and Ghana. So this association came into being for us to be able to close that gap, for us to be able to have coconut sufficiency in Nigeria.
What about this deficiency now? Is it by planting purely only coconut trees? And why not any other trees? Are you saying every other trees are in
not
major,
of economical, importance
and they are in major supply?
Yeah, basically why we feel that coconut should be. When you look at the price that coconut is being sold, let's even take the oil today. A liter of coconut oil, the cold press, is going for 7,000 naira, which is more higher than the crude oil. So investing in coconut will help the country will help our GPD. Yeah, and it will create a lot of job, to create job for the unemployed.
Okay.
Because one hectare of a coconut plantation should be able to create job for over 20 youths. And our target for us to be able to achieve COSIN in Nigeria, which is called Coconut Sufficiency in Nigeria, by 2027. We are looking at following a roadmap by the grace of God by 2027 with NACOPMAN as the head and the frame of affairs for coconut in Nigeria. We are looking at by 2027 we are not going to import coconut into this country. And we have the land. From the research they have done, our Nigerian coconut is the best in the world. but we don't have enough plantations.
Okay, talking about coconut and what Nakubman is doing, a lot of people say it takes longer time for the process of planting coconut, the germination, it starts yielding fruit, and then you start harvesting. A lot of people think this one is a long-term plan when it has to do with agriculture. People would rather want to plant, what they can get, watermelons where you plant in a few weeks or months, you can harvest them. So there's this part of the reason why people don't want to venture into planting a tree or planting coconut trees. And how long does it even take for coconut tree, the planting, the germination, and the harvesting?
This is one very good question you are asking. Because even when we're going around to do advocacy programs and awareness, people keep asking, why don't they encourage a tree that could harvest in 6 months? It's because the awareness for coconut is very, very low in Nigeria. The breeds we, Nakopma, we are marketing today takes only 2.5 years to 3 years.
So you have to invest for like 2.5 years before you start to get.
Yeah, but I'll get there.
You think people will run? How do I want to invest 2.5 years into planting something? So from now to the 2.5 years, what will I be eating?
No, you still eat something. We have systems in place. Okay. If you have a plantation, a coconut plantation, it takes 2.5 years to 3 years for you to see your coconut mature to the level that you start consumption if you want to sell. But meanwhile, in the period of waiting, there is what we call intercropping.
Oh, okay.
You can intercrop coconut with cotton. You can intercrop coconut with sweet potatoes, cassava, ugu, name it. So while you are waiting for your boom, you have crops that you can germinate 3 months, 6 months. That will be taking care of the farm. You have income coming in while you wait for the 2.5 to 3 years for your coconut. And the money that you are going to get from your coconut after 2.5 to 3 years, by the time the money comes into your account, it will be worth waiting for. Then secondly, one thing people don't know, after 2.5 to 3 years of waiting, in the next 80 years, every year you are germinating, you don't need to replant. While other plants, when you plant, you germinate in 6 months, you have to go and buy seedlings after 6 months or 1 year for you to replant again. But coconut, you plant once and you have it for the next 80 years, so which is better.
See, even after planting, you're investing for your children, because some of us will not even live to see the end of the coconut.
That's the truth. Yeah, the beauty of coconut plantation is a generation thing. You plant, your children come, your great-great-children will come and enjoy it. See the ones that we have in Badagry, they are over 100 years.
Okay, Ma, you mentioned something about breed of coconuts, and I'm curious to know if there is a specific breed that Nigerians are encouraged to plant, or we can just plant all types, all breeds of the coconut.
The breed we have in Nigeria is the long and the one that stays for over 10 years. So what we are actually...
That is 10 years to germinate, to grow?
Yeah, that is the local breed that we have. Okay. But the breed that we are marketing today as Nakopma is called the Malaysian dwarf breed. That one takes 2.5 years to 3 years to get to maturity stage. And we are looking at starting with that. Then when we have this coconut based on our target, we start breeding our own locally.
Oh, okay, so now the Malaysian dwarf breed is what's been encouraged.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's from Malaysia and it's not a Nigerian thing, right?
Yeah, it's not a Nigerian thing.
Oh, okay, because imagine investing for 10 years and Nigerian breed. Are you sure we're even going to encourage the Nigerian breed in the first place?
So,
because of the number of years it takes to germinate.
So we're actually looking at starting with this, then we start growing in our own. Give us the next 3 to 5 years, we'll have our local Nigerian breeds. We don't need to go to Malaysia again. But for now, let's start with what we think is realistic when it comes to period of growth and the footing of Malaysian breed. On each coconut tree, you are going to have 200 to 300 seedlings.
Wow. Okay, so now it's one thing for you to plant, and it's another thing to sensitize Nigerians on the need to start planting coconut trees, especially because that's what Nakupman has been doing. So, talking about sensitization, what has Nakupman done so far, and what are those programs, maybe reach out programs that Nakupman has engaged in to ensure that they promulgate or pass this message across to Nigerians so they understand the need, to invest in coconut trees planting?
Thank you for that question. We have a lot of programs that we have embarked for 2021 for us to be able to create awareness for Nigerians to understand why they should plant this coconut tree. There is one program we call Catch Them Young. That one we are going to primary and secondary school. We want children at that age to be able to understand why they should go into agricultural sector using coconut as a base, because coconut itself has over 300 byproducts. And with the 3 value change, you can decide to be a farmer, a processor, and a marketer. So the value change is wild. So if we can start getting the young ones to have interest at that early age, it will be good for this country. So we have Catch Them Young, Pay Your Bills with Ease. If you have a land here, it could be the front of your house. Instead of planting a flower that does not have economical value, by the time you're able to put 10 seedlings of coconut, give it the next 2.5 years, you should be able to use that money to pay off rent, while other income coming can take care of other problems. You could even get like 10 to 5 coconut seedlings plant and dedicate it to paying of school fees. So we have a lot of these programs. Today in Malaysia, what they use for their retirement plan is coconut plantation. So we are going to do advocacy to retire with a smile. If you are retiring from a service or whatever, you know that you have a coconut plantation, because 1 hectare of a coconut plantation gives you 4 million yearly.
Annually?
Yeah, 4 million annually, just based on the coconut without the intercropping. So for you to be retiring and you have even just 1 hectare of coconut plantation waiting for you, you are retiring with a smile. We have a program coming up trying to encourage people working. They should start planning towards retirement by having coconut plantations. Then we have different programs for senatorial zone, which we intend to go into different senatorial zones in Nigeria to enlighten women on the coconut value chain, more especially with the processors. Some of our processors will go there, groom them on how to use coconut to do things like coconut oil. There are so many things you can get from coconut.
Okay, amazing.
I think I should start working towards that. I like the idea of
I like the idea, and I love the fact that they are going to senatorial district to tell those people. I don't know why they specifically chose women.
Because it's only women that I believe can create so many things out of one thing. A man not ordinarily would not go into coconut oil production.
You know, our men are going to the farm. Why we want to educate the women on the processing.
Oh, okay.
So you can see that Nakopma is carrying everybody along. We have program for children in school. We have graduate program which we intend to collaborate with NYSC.
Amazing. That's good to know. So thank you so much, Mrs. Hariratu Yakubu. She is the Community Coordinator of Nakopman. And we know Nakopman is a national coconut producer for production, processing and marketing association of Nigeria, and they're doing so well and encouraging Nigerians not just to plant a tree or flowers that, as much as it will bring aesthetics, beautify spaces and contribute to the climate, but there is no economical value. So rather, plant coconut. Its aesthetics on its own, it helps the climate, as well as it brings in money. 4 million a year for 1 hectare.
Fantastic.
I don't want to try this. Thank you so much, Irene, for coming. Now the conversation continues right after this break.